I would love for you, Josh, just quickly share with us what happens on this property. We saw the video, but what's taking place on this property all summer long?
Yeah, so as a Christian ministry, we always want to go back to biblical foundation. And with that being said, in 1 Corinthians, we see that we want to become all things for all people so that some may come to know the Lord. And so every summer, we hire around 70 college-age students. This summer was a little bit different. But we have about 70 college students that we hire to invest and pour and advance the next generation.
Brianna, tell us a little bit about the numbers. What's kind of the scope of how many kids are coming, the ages that come and participate?
Yeah, so we had a little bit over 3,400 this summer. Which was a huge blessing, and just being able to see the growth that we did this summer. But we serve campers from age 5. Some of them are 4.5 because their birthdays where they sit, and then all the way up through sophomore high school. So.
Well, Josh, I know you were a camper here, so it's pretty fun to see this journey where you were one of the campers that Brianna's describing, and now you're the camp director. But how did camp impact your life?
Yeah, so like I mentioned, it always goes back to biblical foundation. And there were just so many people who invested in my life. And really, some of my biggest supporters were my parents. And, you know, I just remember coming downstairs, and I had this really transformative experience at camp. And going downstairs, my mom was on the couch. She was doing her quiet time. And I just said, Mom, I think I want to quit playing football and spend my summer at Deer Run. And so that was really difficult on them, but she knew that the Lord was calling me to a specific purpose for a specific time. And here I am, they can't get rid of me.
David was very kind to ask me to share a little bit of my Deer Run story and how Deer Run has impacted my family personally. My relationship, when I walked in tonight, several people said, "Oh, how do you know David and Liz?" And I told them, I said, I have known David and Liz since I was 14 years old. So they were leaders in my youth group when I was a kid. So they've been a part of my life for a long, long time, a very important part of my life. But my relationship with Deer Run started when my now grown teenage kids began to come here. They came out here one of the first years Deer Run was open. And it happened to be one of the very hardest summers of our lives. In the months prior, I suddenly found myself a single mom of 3 small children and dealing with the trauma that comes with that reality. And it was a place that they needed to come for some serious summer fun. I was determined that it was going to be the summer of fun if it killed me, because we all needed to laugh and we all needed to relax. The joy that they found when they came out here, I cannot even express what it meant to my mama heart. If you've ever seen your children suffer or walk through difficult times, to see them then just feel released from that is one of the biggest blessings that if you haven't lived it, it's hard to understand it. The thing that God provided out here for us was a place for my kids just to laugh and run and have fun. He knew that that's what they needed, and that's what this place was for them that very first summer. The very next summer, we came back, and a few weeks after camp had ended, my son Blaze said to me, Mom, you know, did I tell you that my counselor told us how we could pray and ask Jesus to be our friend forever when I was at Deer Run? Now, I had been in children's ministry for like 20 years. I snarkily thought, you mean like I tell you all the time? Yes, I do know what that means. And he said, well, when he told us we could pray, I prayed that prayer. I prayed to become a Christian at Deer Run. And I said, did you tell anybody? Nope. You have to know my Blaze. He's a very quiet, introverted, fly under the radar kind of guy. But for him, he just, when the moment was right, when we were hanging out at home weeks later, he wanted to tell me that his life had been changed here at Deer Run. It was so, yes, that's where it's not for sure. I even called David. I remember calling David, and I said, David, did you know this? And he said, no, I didn't know that. He literally had told no one. But as I began to unpack that with him, I realized that summer, whereas the summer before they just needed joy and fun, that summer God provided a whole new twist on Deer Run. It was a place where the Holy Spirit needed to speak to him. And even though I had said things in my home to him over and over again, hearing it from somebody else in this context was life-changing for him. Now my Deer Run story continues because I have the honor of sitting on the board. I was so honored when David and Liz asked me if I would be a part of Deer Run in this way. David, I can say wholeheartedly from the board how much we appreciate your leadership. And it's been fun to see the behind the scenes being on the board because I feel so much, I've always felt great about this place. I feel even better about it because I know everything that happens here is done out of deep faith and prayer and a submission to a dream that God gave David and Liz so long ago. And they are just walking by faith, especially during this season that was so difficult during this pandemic, and it's been amazing to get to be a part of that. And then you would think my Deer Run story would end there, but this July, my 2 teenage boys had a great summer in June. They had been busy, they had camps and family reunions and all these things, and we got about 2 days into July, and I thought, somebody's not going to make it through the summer. Because they've already been on video games like almost 24 hours straight, and they need purpose for their life. And I know Deer Run takes volunteers. No, wait, VolunDeers. Yes, I thought that was clever of them too, but that is what they're called out here. VolunDeers. So in my mind, I thought, you know what, I'll sign them up for just 3 days. It was the end of the 4th of July week. We had done something for 4th of July. I thought, I'll send them out there for 3 days. And I was ready to lay down the law. Like, you're going. You don't have a choice. This is what you're going to do. At the end of those 3 days, they came home, and they said, Mom, can we go back next week? I said, well, sure, absolutely. Well, that happened. They ended up serving out here the entire month of July this summer. And to Josh and Brianna and Curly and everybody who's a part of this team out here, if you can convince 2 teenage boys to get up at 6:30 in the morning every morning in this summer, that to me, you're my hero. Because that was miraculous in itself. But even what they got through giving, it taught them a whole new lesson on what it means to serve, what it means to give, what it means to find purpose. That this past July could have been at home, sitting in front of the TV, playing video games. And instead, it was spent giving back to this community that has meant so much in our lives. And so to the team at Deer Run, we are so grateful for the impact you've made on my family. Our lives are forever changed, and my Blaze is a Christian because of this place. So thank you, and thank you for letting me have a moment.